Hey everyone, here is a little training video that I promised you I would do, so now I'm doing it. The 7 skills of becoming a network marketing professional. Master these 7 areas and you are well on your way to establishing 6 figures in your business and eventually $1 million. And I'll explain the difference between the two of those in a few minutes. So I'm going to break these down a little bit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each of them. I'm going to keep this very simple. And if you nail these, of course you're going to nail them. Just become the person who masters these so that you can build your business as big as you want for all the freedom and your contribution that you want to create for whatever that looks like for you. And this is the way there. This will separate you from being an amateur and to becoming a network marketing professional. All right, number 1 is finding prospects. This for me is pretty simple, and so I'm glad I get to talk about it. But to start with, the obvious places is going to be your address book, your Facebook friends list, if you have a YouTube channel, your YouTube subscribers, your address book, and your email accounts. There's all kinds of lists like that that you have that maybe you don't really think about as a place to find prospects. But for most people, there's quite a few names there. And the average person, well, I forget what the statistic is, but it's somewhere in the thousands. The average person knows thousands of people, and they might have to just do a little bit of a memory jogger to come up with those names, because those files are kind of hard to access. You might think of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 right off the top of your head as you're writing names down, but you've got thousands of names in your brain that you just have to figure out how to access. So here's a tip for you. Go to Google and type in the keyword phrase of memory jogger and see what you come up with. You're going to find some tools that's going to help you access those files in your brain to come up with thousands of names. And there you go. You found a bunch of prospects. So those are some of the obvious places. Now, my personal favorite, and this is completely endless and it's much faster than doing this, say, offline, is online, especially social media, things like Facebook. I've got a whole YouTube video playlist on specifically just finding people. Lots of different ways of doing it. It's pretty simple. It's endless, and I've been doing it for years. It was more than enough to get me to where I'm at today, to have all this freedom and to not have to need a job or anything like that. So in the description of this video, actually, I'm going to have a link to my playlists on finding prospects, inviting them, sharing content with attractive pull, and also personal development. All right, the next part, inviting prospects. Oh, by the way, back to finding prospects for just a moment. When I'm finding prospects, this is really important because it goes to your posture and the energy that emotes from you, that's picked up on people. I am not finding prospects with the goal of getting people into my deal or even having it brought up in conversation. I'm just not. All I want to do is make friends. That is it. And somewhere down the road, if it's appropriate, to invite them into my deal, or I should say to look at my deal, because I never really invite anybody into it. I invite people to look at it. But if that comes up in the future, so be it. All good. When I'm finding prospects, all I really want to do is make friends. That's it. And it keeps it real genuine that way. And you never know what kind of treasures you're going to find just doing that. Even if you meet people that never get into your deal, you can meet some really awesome friends, make some really awesome connections that are just completely priceless. And that's a really good thing. So just enjoy that. And don't be weird, because if you go out there trying to get people in your deal, then odds are you're going to come off as weird. You're going to have a really hard time finding prospects who want to listen to you. So that brings me to inviting prospects. I love the invitation process. I really do, because I got one that I believe in, that lines up with my values, my humanity. I get to add my humanity to it and just be myself and pull more of myself out of me when I'm inviting people, which, by the way, goes to the energy that emotes from me that is picked up on, and people sense that I'm genuine. So I really don't get a lot of resistance. I think the primary reason most business owners get resistance when they're inviting people is because they are not pulling out their authentic selves when they're inviting people. And when you are not in alignment with your mission and your message, your humanity, and all those things, then the person that you're talking to, people generally pick up on that. And I think it's usually on a subconscious level, but translates to the consciousness. And so you start getting some resistance from people, and people that just want to make statements, and just overall not a lot of curiosity but more resistance. So that's the first thing there. Just talking to people in general, whether you're finding prospects or inviting prospects, you got to be real, got to be yourself, pull more of the best of you out of you, and line that up with your mission, with your message, with your values. You should be adding your humanity into your business in every aspect of it. Seriously, don't separate your human side from your business. Okay, so inviting people. I love using scripted sequences that are open to be adapted to the individual situation and what's going on with the person I'm talking to. So a script is more like a guide for me. And that's how I teach people to use scripts, is sort of like a guide. And some scripts are better word for word than others, and others, overall, it's got to be you. But the scripts, man, they're really going to help you craft something that is appropriate for you to send to people that you're inviting, or for you to say over the phone or in person or at a meeting, or whatever. Me personally, my strength is online. So almost all of my invitations, almost all of them, happen over social media, over Facebook specifically. And the scripting processes that I've created work really, really well for those. And when I'm inviting somebody, this is key right here. I'm not inviting people into my deal. I'm inviting them to look at information about my deal to see if they even want to get into it. That's the first step. So I call it a pique interest question. And that could look something, it could be as simple as, hey, I've got this business I just started, and wanted to know if you got any openness to taking a look at it to see if it's something you'd want to do, if it doesn't interfere with what you're already doing. If you are, great. If not, no big deal. So there's a really cool posture in that, and it's not weird. That's the important thing. It's not weird. If you get weird with people and you start sounding like almost everybody else out there who's pitching people their business and inviting them directly into their business, then it's just going to be weird, and the red flags are going to go up, and you're going to get resistance. So that's all I want to say about inviting prospects for this particular training. I'm like I said, I'm going to include a link to my video playlists on finding people, and another one that I've got on just inviting people. And there's a lot of great info in there, and you can just pick one or two strategies that works for you, that you feel confident about exercising, and it's probably going to work out really well for you, especially the more that you practice it and you get good at it. Okay, presenting. So here's something cool about presenting. Presenting is great. You can go out there and do, you can become the person that can do a kick-butt presentation that gets more people in than not, and things like that. And you can easily create a six-figure business doing it that way. But it doesn't duplicate well. If a new person comes in, you just did this awesome presentation, new person comes in day one, they're not going to be able to duplicate what you just did. I'm just saying. So in my personal opinion, presenting, if you're going to be doing the presenting, it's much better if you are the one being leveraged by somebody else, because that can duplicate within their team so long as you're willing to do that. Or you can put it on video, record a webinar, and then you've always got it out there, and it can be running 24/7, so you don't have to keep doing it over and over again. That's duplication as well. But what I like doing most of all is, if I'm doing the inviting and I'm putting that pique interest question out there that I gave you just a couple minutes ago, someone says, yeah, okay, it depends, sure, what is it? Maybe. It's typically what people say is a depends, maybe sort of thing. So great. So the next step is they've got to see some kind of presentation, or they got to get the info somehow via a presentation or whatever. So I will leverage somebody else, or typically I will leverage a video. I will not be doing the presenting to my own prospects. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. I could do that, and I could do that really well, but the odds of somebody brand new coming in and doing it day one, it's going to be very hard to duplicate and to help somebody make money right away. That's all I'm saying. But how easily can somebody come into this business and day one they can point to a video to point their friends and family and whoever they want to invite. It's a lot easier for them to come in and just point to a video and say, here, watch this for some information about what I'm doing, and if it sounds good to you, let's talk more. That sort of thing. That duplicates. That's easy. And by the way, I said I'd bring this up in a few minutes. The difference between a 6-figure earner and a 7-figure earner, the difference between making $100,000 and $1 million and more than $1 million is your duplication. If you're doing something that duplicates easily and you build a team that's duplicating what you're doing and it goes deep like that, the duplication, that's going to be the thing that brings you from a 6-figure earner to a 7-figure earner. Now you're making millions of dollars. That's pretty sweet. So you can be an expert presenter to your prospects and you can be a 6-figure earner, or you can really expand how you help so many more people. I'm talking in multiplication tables, more people. If you really want to make this about helping and expanding your reach, your positive reach as much as possible, I strongly encourage you to get great at pointing to a video, because you're already great at that. Anybody can do it. We're just, it's almost like we're born knowing how to, okay, point to a video, check this out, it's got the information about it, and let me know what you like most about what you just saw. If you dig it, we can do this. Word it however you want to that way. But anybody can point to a video. That's what I'm trying to say. That's how you're going to expand and multiply your positive influence over the planet, is if you're willing to take the focus off of yourself and how great you are. If you can take the focus off of that and put it into leveraging third-party tools like a video, that's going to duplicate when you bring people in. All right, so not to sound too redundant, I just said it over and over again in different ways because it is, that really is the difference between 6 and 7 figures. And I'm hoping that you're going for the 7 figures, because in this profession of ours, the more money that you create, that's only because you have helped more people. You've made a bigger difference. And this is the only industry on planet Earth that really has that kind of a ratio. The more money you make is a direct reflection of the number of people that you've helped. And when you do something that duplicates, then the people that you help, most of them aren't even going to be people that had contact with you. You showed something easy and duplicable to people that got into your organization with you, and now it's growing away from you because it's duplicating. So you might have had maybe, I don't know, let's say there's 10,000 people, or your organization starts at 0 because everyone does, but then it grows and you got 10,000 people a few years later, a year later, whatever, however fast your business is growing. You go from 0 to 10,000. Maybe you personally brought in 100 or so, but you've got 10,000 people, because a few people of that 100 people that you brought in, like maybe 4, 5, 6, those people are bringing in people who are bringing in people who are bringing in people. And they're doing this thing, this presenting thing, in a way that duplicates, so they can help people make money very fast after they get in. Can't say enough about how powerful that is. All right, moving right along. Follow-up. Most people do not get in the first time they are exposed to your deal. They just don't. You probably didn't. If you happen to be the rare person that did get in the first time you saw it, then you're going to be the one that's probably going to be more frustrated than anybody else that all these people you talk to don't get in right away, because you saw it, you knew right away, you got in, you acted. But I'm just letting you know, most people, they need to be followed up with. They're not getting in the first time they hear about it. And my favorite thing to say to people that aren't ready right now is simply, hey, no problem. When you are ready in your own time, I'm ready for you. I'd love to do this with you. That way they stay safely in your tumbler. And when they are ready, when something happens, when the desire turns on, we never know what's going to trigger that desire. We know that desire is like this sleeping giant. It's just waiting for a trigger, an experience of some kind, and that's different from person to person. So when you're talking to somebody who wasn't ready and they heard, no problem, when you're ready in your own time, I'm ready for you, I'd love to do this with you. And suddenly down the road somewhere, they have that experience that trips that desire, more than likely, you're going to be the only logical choice for them. Because everyone else that pitched them their business got a little weird with them. And maybe they got really weird and maybe even turned down the pressure when they weren't ready. They're going to remember that. And they're going to remember how you were so refreshingly different because you didn't get weird and you didn't turn up the pressure. You honored them and you just let them know, hey, when you're ready, I'm ready for you. I'd love to do this with you. And you came across as a human being. That's part of what I mean about, adding your humanity to your business. Don't separate the two. Your message has to be part of your humanity and vice versa. All right, so follow-up. There's an old saying, the fortune is in the follow-up. It is so true, because most people just ain't getting in the first time they hear about it. Number 5, closing. Professionals take the stress of closing away. That is so true. This is the part where I think most business owners have the most apprehension, and they feel, the most nervousness about it. I don't know if nervousness is a word, but I use it, so whatever. So here's the deal with closing, and this is something that I had to overcome as well. But now that I have, it's like, it's so easy. I don't even think of it as closing anymore. Closing is really just helping somebody come to a decision. Some people are going for the solid yes or no. I'm not. This is one way to do it that works really well. Since I know most people are not ready the first time they hear it, I'm not going for a solid yes or no. Most people I've enrolled, and I've enrolled hundreds of people. Literally, I have. And most of them did not get in the first time they heard it. I wasn't going for a solid yes, no. If they weren't ready, they just weren't ready right now. And I always said, no problem, when you're ready in your own time, I'm ready for you. And the only time I ever, cross somebody's name off and take them off my list is if they're a jerk and I just don't want to work with them. Otherwise, if they say no, if they say not right now, whatever they say, it doesn't even matter. I'm not taking them off my list. I'll follow up in the future with some kind of an update. It could be a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months. Experience is going to be your best teacher there as to how soon to follow back up with somebody. Now, going back to follow up for a second, if you're in the, an invitation process, and wherever you are in that process and they just don't get back to you, like let's say you shared the presentation in a video and they didn't get back to you. Well, 24 to 48 hours later, just write them back and say, hey, just checking on you. Did you have a chance to see that video that I sent you yesterday? That could be a follow-up. Or, hey, I got you back yesterday, sent you that video. Are you okay? That's one I send a lot because I honestly don't know. And you know what? A lot of times people write back and they say, you know what? I've been better. Or sometimes people write back with some kind of a horror story that happened. So I'm not, that's not a manipulation tactic to ask someone if they're okay if they're not writing you back. Now, you're going to get people that just don't write you back because they're blowing you off. And that's just the integrity of some people, but you don't know. So what I'm saying is don't jump to that conclusion if somebody doesn't write you back. You got to follow up. So if you're following up with someone who just didn't write you back and you're in the midst of working somebody through that invitation process, and you just got to write them back, ask them if they're okay, ask them if they had a chance to see the video. And then at that point, you're going to, they're either going to write you back or they're not. And I'll follow up one more time at that point. If I still haven't heard from them and I followed up a couple times, then I will write them just one more time, because you want to spend most of your time talking to new people, not following up with the same people who aren't writing you back. But I'll follow up one more time. It'll look something like, hey, I wrote you back a couple of times. You are either super busy and you have no time to get back to me, which is cool, or I've said something that completely upset and offended you. Could you do me a favor? Let me know that it's not the latter. And most of the time they'll write back. Some of them still don't. And at that point, I do actually pretty much cross them off the list. And I don't know if it's because they're blowing me off or maybe they just don't see it. Sometimes people just don't check their messages. In that case, if you have their phone number, you should call them. And if you don't have their phone number, then there's really not much else that you can do with that. So that's another thing I wanted to say about following up. And one last thing I want to say about following up is, let's say you are following up with somebody who just, they flat out, it's not that they didn't write you back, it's not that kind of a follow-up, but somebody who said, now's not the right time, or they just flat out said, no, I'm not interested. You can still follow up with all those people, but when you follow up with those people, you want to do it with some kind of an update, not, hey, just following up, just checking up on you, seeing if you're ready yet for my deal. You don't want to do that. You want to have an update. So let's say you just had your first $1,000 week. You could follow up with that update. Hey, so-and-so, I just wanted to let you know, hey, remember that business I invited you into? I just wanted to let you know that I just had my first $1,000 week. It's incredible. I'm able to pay off my debt, pay off my car. I just booked this incredible vacation with my family. With my kids always wanted to see whatever. So just update them with that. Something about that goes back to the dream. So you had your first $1,000 week. Go into what that means. You were just able to do this, and then button it with just I just wanted to touch base with you and see if this was a better time for you to take another look at this. Bam. So that's one example. Another example of an update could be, let's say you just brought in this this new person in your team, or somebody within your organization brought in a new person, and they just had their first $1,000 week. You can follow up with that. You can say, hey, so-and-so, I just wanted to reach back out to you and let you know that, remember that business that I invited you into, I'm still doing that. Things are great. We just brought in this former broke high school teacher, and she just had her first $1,000 week, and it means so much for the example she wants to set for her kids. She's taking her kids on a really nice vacation now with that extra money, and this is all happening in my team. Great things are happening, and I just wanted to reach back out to you and see if now is a better time for you. If not, that's cool, but since we're having all this really awesome growth, I at least thought of you and wanted to extend that invitation to you. Something along those lines. And obviously, as I'm typing it out, I'm going to craft it, and it's going to be really cool. Or if it's over the phone, it's going to come out fluently and naturally. I'll have my thoughts composed. But as long as you keep those bullet points in your noggin as you're talking or you're typing, it doesn't really matter how you say it, just as long as you get that across and it's non-threatening and there's some kind of an update. Otherwise, a follow-up is pretty useless. So let's see here. Closing. I already talked about that. So closing, but I'm going to talk about it some more. Closing. The best way to take the stress away from closing is to not hound somebody for a solid yes/no decision. My favorite closing ever is, great, that's awesome. So do you want to get started on that now or later? I love that. And that's going to be after they've taken in a presentation. Most likely, for me anyway, it's going to be a video, and I'm going to follow up. And when we get to the closing, I'm going to ask them what they liked most about what they saw in the video. What resonated for you the most? What did you like the most about it? Oh yeah, awesome. Tell me more about that. That is so cool. So tell me, do you want to get started on that now or later? It's going to look something like that. It's pretty easy to do it that way. It's non-threatening. I feel good doing it. I don't even think of it as closing. And they're either going to be ready now or later. And if later is the answer, hey, no problem. When you're ready in your own time, I'm ready for you. And hey, by the way, is there something else that you would like to see that will put more good information in your mind to help you come to a decision? And they might say, yeah, I'm kind of curious about fill in the blank. And great. Okay, let me grab this for you. It could be another video. It could be the comp plan. Who knows? And then they'll have a chance to see more info. And then I'll still keep them on my list, and I might make the note to, just not ready right now. And then when I'm looking at it a couple weeks later, a month later, whatever, and I have this really cool update, I can update them with, somebody got their first $100 week, or their first $1,000 week, or their first $10,000 month, or I got something like that, or maybe I just enrolled somebody who's a real estate professional and they just happen to be a real estate professional. I could update them with that. Hey, just wanted to touch base with you. I just enrolled this real estate professional. I know that you're into real estate, so immediately I thought of you. They're super excited, super sharp, and just wanted to reach back and see if now is a better time for you. So that could be an update too. There's so many ways you can update people. All right, so that's closing, and that's the best example that I just gave you. I love it. It's just awesome. Number 6, getting people started right. So this is important, and this might be the most overlooked of this whole 7 of most business owners. Most of the time when somebody does actually enroll somebody, if it doesn't happen a lot, there's usually reasons for it because they're not mastering these things. But when it does happen, they don't get their new people started right. They don't get them connected, and they don't give them something easy that they can do that meets them where they're at right now so that they can begin growing from where they're at. Something that's digestible, something that gets them moving forward. Usually it's one of two things. Most home business owners will get a new person started with way too much information, just complete overload. Then their new person freezes up and suddenly they disappear. And they never say anything. They don't say like, I'm feeling so overwhelmed. Maybe an occasional person will, but most people don't. You'll not hear anything and they'll just disappear. And then the other common thing that happens is that, the person that got them in just kind of disappears, doesn't connect them to anything, doesn't show them anything. Or maybe they might show them one thing and say, all right, you're on your own. Good luck. This is all you got to do. And there's really no connection or support. And that happens a lot because I hear that a lot just in my own organization, and people thank me quite regularly for putting together such an awesome community that's well connected and really great training and things like that. So here's how I like to get somebody started right. So I'm going to ask them, what they want out of this, what they want to achieve, what their dreams are. If there's a problem that needs to be solved, if there's a dream that needs to be funded, their why, basically. And then I'm going to find out how much time they have a day to commit to this. If they have a half hour, an hour, I want to find out how aggressive they want to be with it, if it's just going to be a hobby, or if it's something they want to be super aggressive with. And then, I'm going to get a sense of where they're at right now. And then, most importantly, after all of that, I'm going to give them something that they can do right now. It doesn't even matter what it is, so long as it's something that's going to help get them started, move them forward, and it's something that they can do right now without feeling overwhelmed, something digestible. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm really not. That first thing, that first homework assignment, there's two reasons I'm doing it. One, to see if they're going to do it, because a lot of people they don't. They don't. They drop the ball right from the get-go. And when I was doing this for a while, gosh, even when I started making some good money, I was still making this mistake. But I would spend like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours with a brand new person, getting them started the best way possible, awesome training. And most of them disappeared. They didn't follow. They let me waste all that time without even telling me that they weren't going to do anything. So there's a big hint for you. You can spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours with a new person, and they will not tell you that they aren't going to do it. They will let you waste your time over and over and over again. So what I do now is I give one simple little assignment. It'll take me a couple minutes, or if it's something over email or social media private message, it takes me a couple seconds to copy and paste a link with some written, or I should say copy pasted instruction. And I want to see that they're going to do it. So if they do it, then it's like, okay, cool. Then this person's going to get more of my time. So that's the first reason I do it that way. And the second reason is because I do want to get them moving in the right direction so that they can start to get paid like the first week. That's a pretty cool thing if you can help somebody get paid the first week. And believe me, you do not want to be wasting tons of time with people that just aren't going to do it. And odds are extremely favorable that the people that aren't going to do it, they're going to let you waste all your time. They're not going to say anything. They just aren't. It would be nice if they did, but they don't. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time so that you can't come back and claim that you didn't know that all these people were going to suck up all your time and not tell you that they weren't going to follow through to begin with in the first place. So that's something that's really important. I don't want to see you guys wasting your time. Those hours and hours you could spend prospecting new people and inviting new people and just talking to new people and following up with people and all those other profitable activities. So getting somebody started right. You find out where they're at now, where they want to go, and you give them something to do that is easily digestible. And then, decide upon a mutually agreed upon time that they will have it completed and that they will get back in touch with you to let you know that it's completed. And then they've earned the right to have a little bit more of your time. That's a conditioning. You're conditioning people to be faithful with what they have. The opposite of that is to condition people to be unfaithful. The coach, the mentor, the leader that allows people to take so much of their time and then they go out and they do nothing with it and then they give them more of their time. Those people are conditioning people to be completely unfaithful with what they've been given, and that's the way that they live their lives personally and professionally, and that is really conditioning people to just fail at life in general. So don't be that person. You want to be somebody of impact, an impactful leader. Condition people to be faithful with their time and with what they've been given. And that's a really great way to serve people. All right, last but not least, promoting events. Eric Worre, God, great trainer. I'm paraphrasing how he says this, but it's really funny. Something along the lines of posers talk about events, amateurs invite people to events, but professionals promote events. So what do I mean by it? What's the difference between inviting people to events and promoting events? Well, there's a big difference actually, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm actually going to take this opportunity to take you over here. This is Eric Worre's product. This is where this comes from, by the way. 7 steps. It's changing. The 7 steps to becoming a network marketing professional. It's a book. It's available in audio. There's look at that. You can buy the combo, buy the audio, or buy the book. It's like $12. It's pretty incredible. But Eric Worre is a master at teaching these things, and he's also the master of teaching, especially events. Eric Worre, I kid you not, I've heard him say in the flesh before. I've been there. I've heard him say this. Well, don't quote me exactly, but it's something along the lines of the quickest way I know of to earn 6 figures is to get 100 people on your team to the next event. Like if you want to earn 6 figures, $100,000 or more your very first year, he says the quickest way I know of is to get 100 people within your team to the next big event. And he says if you want to make $1 million your first year, he says it's possible, make $1 million your first year, and it has been done, so obviously it's possible. He says, and all you got to do is get 1,000 people to the next big event. That's the quickest way I know of. That's what he says. It's pretty powerful. Now, that's not the way I took. I did it just through finding and inviting and personal development, and it took a couple years to get to the 6-figure mark, and that's pretty freaking awesome. But according to him, and he's right because other people have done it, to get to 6 figures, the fastest way he knows of is get a lot of people to an event. All right, so I highly recommend this book. So it's like, gosh, you could go to college, and I'm not saying this to not college, so don't take it that way, but you could spend tens of thousands of dollars, $250,000, whatever, on your college education to get a high-paying job that's going to tax you at the highest level possible, and you're trading your time for money, and you cannot make. It's highly unlikely, we'll put it that way, extremely highly unlikely that you are ever going to make the kind of money that is potentially possible here in the network marketing profession. Tens of thousands of dollars investment, and there's so many extreme limitations. $12 investment on this book, you can earn 6 figures, and the type of income is the key difference. This type of income can be residual and it can be passive. A job is not residual, it's not passive. You're trading your time for it. You're selling your soul for it, in my opinion. And a lot of people don't look at it that way because a lot of people don't look at it as trading time for money, but you are. I mean, that's what a W-2 worker is. You are trading time for money, hourly, salary, hourly. And I don't want to turn this into a whole big thing about that topic matter, but I just wanted to make you guys aware and put this into some kind of context as to how valuable this is, because a lot of people don't want to invest in their education to become professionals. People are more than willing to throw down tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a college education that comes with so many built-in limitations as far as earning a livelihood and gaining your freedom and being able to contribute more to the world. There's so many limitations, tens of thousands of dollars and all those limitations, versus here's $12. You can earn $1 million, and this $1 million actually creates freedom rather than tying you down to a job and tying your money into your time. You're totally separating your time from your money when you do this. With the residual passive income, it is the most intelligent way to make money. It's the most intelligent income that exists because your time is no longer tied to money. That means you can spend your time creating experiences and giving back, and contributing, making a difference, freedom, a contribution. $12. It's just incredible. At least I think it's 12. Let me find out for sure. I'm going to click to buy the book. See what happens here. Yeah, $12. It looks like you can get different deals to 10 for 80. So obviously there's some savings there. 25 for 150. And I know the audio is the same, and the combo pack is going to be 24. I'm pretty sure the combo pack doesn't have an incentive. Let's find out. 24. Yeah, so the audio pack is 24, the book is 24, And then if you want them both in the same, probably save on shipping on that anyway, so that's pretty cool. All right, that's all I wanted to go over in this video. I really hope that you got a ton of value. I really hope that you get Eric Worre's book too, because $12 to get the kind of skills to make, 6 figures or 7 figures, and I already told you the difference. If you just want to do 6, get the book, master it, and don't build a team. Just keep it to yourself. If you want to earn 7 figures and be $1 million earner, tens of millions of dollars, whatever, then develop a team. Develop a team that is learning these 7 skills as well. And they will develop their own teams that learns these 7 skills. And they will develop their own teams that learns these 7 skills. And that's how you transition from a 6-figure earner to a 7-figure earner. But first, got to get to the 6 figures, and this is a great way to do it. Take care, everyone. Hope you got a ton of value. Visit my website, tombirkenmeyer.com. In fact, this is a great opportunity to do this. I know a lot of stuff. Dig around, cherry pick whatever makes sense for you with where you're at right now to help bring you to that quote-unquote next level. And then tell me all about it. I'd love to hear about it. Connect with me on social media. Take care. I'll see you guys later. Next video is coming very soon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and you won't miss it. Bye.